What's the fastest you've ever traveled in a land-based vehicle?
K5ORD. Hey, Craig, thanks for running the net tonight. The fastest I've ever driven in a motor vehicle was 142 miles an hour. I was in high-speed pursuit of a felony suspect, and he went to jail and I went home. All right, back to you, K5ORD.
Thank you, John. Wow, thank you for your service there. That you made it home alive and suspect went to jail. This is K4MMX for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net, or night, whichever way you want to call it. We're taking check-ins now. You can text your check-in via our text line, which is 716-317-9050, or you can give your call sign twice and slowly. We're taking check-ins on the radio now.
KC5CZX, Kilo Charlie 5, Charlie Zulu X-Ray.
Four Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra 41 NYS.
Kilo Charlie 1, Hotel Golf Victor. Kilo Charlie 1, Hotel Golf Victor.
KR4HBQ, Kilo Romeo 4, Hotel Bravo, Quebec.
KF8GAH, Kilo Foxtrot 8, Golf Alpha Hotel.
KJ5, QY.
Kilo 9 Tango Juliet Sierra, K9 TJS.
All right, let's hold it up there for the moment. I'm going to read the list of check-ins that I've got, and if your name or your call does not, if you don't hear your call and you know you tried checking in, we'll give you another chance. From the bottom up, we got a new person to the ECR. That would be Diane, K9, stand by. Sorry about that, guys. Going from the bottom up, we have K5DJS, Danny. We have KJ5QYQ. That would be Colin. KF8GAH, Tim. KR4HBQ. KC1HGV. And 4G1NYS. We also got Vicky, one of our main system facilitators, KE8VKY, that also checked in as well. If you tried checking in and you didn't hear me read your call, try again, please. Try to space it out, wait a random amount of time, and then key up if the channel's clear, and give your call sign twice and slowly.
KF8.
Kilo 9 Tango Sierra, K9 TJS.
Zulu X-Ray.
Okay, the last station that ended in X-ray, could you come back with your call sign, please?
Kilo Charlie 5, Charlie Zulu X-Ray. KC5CZX.
There were two other stations trying to check in. One of them was a little bit noisy. One of you guys, I don't know how to say which one, but one of you guys try again.
Kilo Tango Juliet Sierra, K9 TJS.
And let me acknowledge K9TJS, KC5CZX, KJ5QYQ, KF8GAH, and I'm probably repeating myself here. Call signs keep moving around on the log here. All right, let's start from the top down. Stephen, 4G1NYS. What is the fastest you have ever traveled in a land-based vehicle?
All right. Thank you very much. This is 4 Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra. My name is Steven from here in the Philippines. Just coming up and supporting the net. It's the Thursday morning here. Quite breezy and rainy. My answer to your question, the fastest that I have traveled on a land vehicle was 120 kilometers an hour because my uncle really drives so fast even though he's not in a hurry. He's a bit of a free spirit. Thank goodness he's not even cited for ticket citation for overspeeding. He's really such a daredevil. For Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra, sending it back to net. Good day, everybody.
Thank you for checking in there, Stephen. Okay, I need to ID here. This is Craig KRMMX for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net. We will be taking more check-ins shortly. The question of the evening is, what is the fastest you have ever traveled in a land-based vehicle? Next down on the list is Chuck, KC1HGV.
Well, thank you, Craig, and thank you for hosting the net tonight. And let's see, I think it's going to be, I'd say, somewhere around 120 miles an hour. We rented a Mustang out in Arizona, and we got on a flat stretch and opened it up a little bit, but I was scared to death. I didn't dare go any further, so that's about it. So this will be KC1HGV, sending it back to net control. 7-3, everybody.
Thank you, Chuck, for checking in with us. Next, we have Neil, KR4HBQ.
Good evening, all from Bull Durham. Two quick stories for you. One, first job out of college, I was working second shift and commuting with someone, and we, for some reason, had to stay work late. So we're coming back about 2 a.m., and we hit the Tappan Zee Bridge, which, if you remember the old Tappan Zee Bridge from New York, it was about 8 or 10 lanes wide open, and there isn't another car on the road. And he decides, let's see how fast this can do. And we hit 120 on the Tappan Zee Bridge. Second one was on a bullet train in Italy, and I was all excited to see the speedometer click up over 200 miles an hour. A warm train rocking back and forth. If I stayed up beyond 50 miles an hour, I'd be shocked. So I guess 200 would be the fastest, but 120 in a car. So thanks a lot. Have a great night. This is KR4HBQ. Back to net control.
Thank you, Neil, for that. That must have been scary as hell, being on the bridge going that fast. Wow. Next up, we have Tim, KF8GAH.
KF8GAH. Mine was in a Tesla Model S. I know somebody who owns one. It's a Plaid, massively fast, and it was 148, and I said, okay. I called it at 148. I said, okay. I would have tapped him, but I couldn't move my arms. It was like 9 seconds, guys. It's amazing. The car is flat out amazing. And we were just flying. I have vertigo, and it sent me into vertigo from, it looked like the movie pictures of you taking off in a rocket ship, how everything vibrates. That's what my vertigo did the entire way. And I looked down, and I could just barely see 140-some miles per hour, and he said it was 148, and my vertigo was just still kicking, and he let off instantly as soon as I said okay. But, yeah, Tesla Model S Plaid, rocket ship, man. If they put wings on it, it would just take off.
Thank you, Tim, for checking in with us. And I've got a similar story. A neighbor had a dual motor Tesla. Can't remember exactly which model it was, but when he nailed it, oh man, it just the most acceleration I've ever felt in my life. And I've been in some very fast, internal combustion engine cars, but that thing just blew me away. Okay, let me remind everybody that you can still text your check-in to 716-317-9050, and also reminding everyone that tomorrow we have our 20-meter net at 10 a.m. on approximately 14.317 plus or minus a little bit here or there. And tomorrow night in the Zoom room at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we have our Ask the Elmer night, which is always fun. So, let's get back up here on the list here. This is Craig K4MMX for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net. Question is, what is the fastest you've ever traveled in a land-based vehicle? Next up on the list is Colin KJ5QYQ.
Good evening, everyone. This is Colin over from Port Neches, Texas. The fastest I've gone in a land vehicle was about 105 in a little Toyota Corolla. Started getting a little scared, so I hit on the brakes. Headed home one night after school.
Thank you, Colin. That must have been fun. So I missed the good old days when there weren't many consequences. Nowadays there are. So next on our list we have Thomas K9TJS. Thomas, what's the fastest you've ever traveled in a land-based vehicle? K9TJS, are you still here? Okay, we'll put you down as an in and out, but feel free to check in later. Next up, we have one of our biggest system facilitators, and the whole East Coast Reflector would fall apart without her. That's Vicky, KE8VKY. Vicky, I bet you have an interesting story for us.
Not really, because I'm usually too busy watching the road rather than my speedometer. So I'll kind of plead the fifth on that, and I'll just say, did you know Jeep governs theirs at 119? Have a good day. K8VKY.
Thank you, Vicky. Yeah, I know a lot of cars in the programming of the computer, they have a rev, speed limit. But there are people that can delete that for you. Like my work truck cannot drive over 76 miles an hour at all. It just cuts the fuel. So next up on this, we have Daryl, KC5CZX. Daryl, what's the fastest you've ever been?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Let's see. Like one station said earlier, the bullet train in Italy, 220 miles an hour between Naples and Rome. So back to net, KC5CZX.
Wow, that is incredible. Okay, once again, we need some check-ins. Remember, you can text your check-in to avoid the pile-ups, and there have been a couple tonight at 2716-317-9050. Or, if you'd like, you can check in right now on the radio. Just give your call sign twice and slowly. We're taking check-ins now.
CMT, K2CMT.
Kilo Charlie 3, Foxtrot Golf Delta. Kilo Charlie 3, Foxtrot Golf Delta.
Kilo 0,
Kilo
Bravo,
Echo
Kilo
2,
Bravo.
Bravo Hotel Alpha. Kilo Echo 2, Bravo Hotel Alpha. KF8ESN, KF8ESN.
Victor Echo 5, Quebec Uniform, VE5QU.
Okay, let's hold it up there. We don't take check-ins via APRS. Heard that burst in there. All right, from the bottom up, we got K0BKB. We have VE5QU, Randy. We have KF8ESN, KE2BHA, Harry. We have KC3FGD, K2CMT, KD4QIP. If you didn't hear your call sign and you tried checking in via radio, please try again. Okay, hearing none? Let's start from the top of these radio check-ins. This is Craig K4MMX for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net. First station is KD4QIP. What is the fastest you have ever traveled in a land-based vehicle?
Good evening to the net. Done 172 on the Talladega Speedway. We paid for a ride along in a stock car. And recently I've gone on the bullet train in Japan, which I believe goes right at 200 miles an hour. We went from Tokyo to Osaka, so that didn't feel like it, though. That was a smooth ride for sure. KD4QIP.
Thank you, Bob. With us. Must have been awesome riding that stock car. Next, we have Mike, K2CMT. Mike, how fast have you ever gone in a land-based vehicle?
Well, good evening, everyone. And Craig, I think it's the first time I've heard you on Reflector, and you're sounding good there, son. Fastest I've ever gone, I think, would probably be around just about 100 miles an hour, and then I chickened out. That was back in my youth when I was trying to drag race my daddy's 55 Buick, and I wasn't that good a driver, so I quit at 100 miles an hour. This is K2CMT.
Thank you, Mike, for checking in with us. Yeah, I don't blame you. The fastest I've ever gone was my first car after, shall we say, did some modifications. Drove real fast in a straight line, but if you tried making a turn, it was like driving a wet sponge. Called it the super sled. The fastest I ever got on that was 120, and I had to have somebody on a motorcycle ride right next to me so he can tell me later on. Because the speedometer in the car only went up to, I think, like 80 or 85. Next on the list, we have Ray, KC3FGD.
Hey, good evening, everyone on the net. Approximately 30 years ago, I was out in California at the Laguna Seca Raceway. My son was working for Penske Racing, and he was able to get me a celebrity car ride, race car ride on a track. And I looked down, we were in a straightaway, and we were doing 150 miles an hour. And I wasn't sure how we made the turns, but it stuck in there. Everyone have a great evening. Back to Net Control.
Thank you, Ray, for checking in with us. That must have been fun. Next on the list, we have Harry, KE2BHA.
Good evening to everyone on the net. I would say about 120. Back to you, Control.
Thank you, Harry, for checking in with us. Next we have Patrick, KF8ESN.
Well, good evening, everybody on the net. The fastest I've ever gone was in my 2011 Camry. That was going down a mountain. We hit about 135 before I started hitting the brakes.
Well, Randy, that must have been scary. I probably would have downshifted big time and used a lot of engine braking. No escape ramps, I'm sure. But thank you for checking in with us. Next up, we have Randy, VE5QU.
Yeah, good evening from Randy here in central Saskatchewan, Canada. I think the fastest I went is probably 105 miles an hour, and that was in a motorcycle back when I was in my 20s, and now I'm 64 years old, and I still play around with motorcycles. I've got a Harley Ultra, and I don't do anything but the speed limit, so kind of annoys a few people that are following me, I guess, but that's kind of how it is when you get a little older. Nothing else to report. I'm going to do my best to check into the 20-meter net tomorrow. That sounds like fun. All the best. Have a good night.
Thank you, Randy, for checking in with us. Next, we have Bert, K0BKB.
Well, the year was 1993. I just got a 1989 Ford Pro GT Turbo. My friend dared me that the car would only go up to 132, but it went to 142. And the way we confirmed that was when the police officer finally pulled us over after 10 minutes of chasing us, that when I was young, dumb and stupid, that, yeah, that wasn't a good idea, but 142 would be mine. So that's the rest of the story.
Thank you, Bert, for checking in with us. This is Craig, K4MMX for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net. The question of the evening tonight, if you haven't figured it out by now, is what is the fastest you have ever traveled in a land-based vehicle? I'd like to recognize two text check-ins, which, by the way, if you want to text your call sign to avoid any of the pile-ups, you have had some, is area code 716-317-9050. So the two text check-ins I want to recognize from the bottom up. We have AB1EX, that's George, and we had KQ4GLY, Chris. So Chris, why don't you tell us what's the fastest you've ever traveled in a vehicle, land-based?
Everyone on the net. The fastest I went was on my Suzuki GSXR 1000. It was $150 on an abandoned airfield.
Nice. That must have been fun. Last on our list, we have George, AB1EX.
And that's when the electronic speed limiter on my vehicle kicked in. Back to that, AB1EX.
AB1EX, you kind of got covered up by some QRM in the beginning of your transmission. You want to try it one more time?
Yes, 155. And that's when the speed limiter on my vehicle kicked in.
Thank you, George. Got you that time, 155. This is K4MMX. My name is Craig for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net. We are taking check-ins over the radio right now, and of course you can always text your check-in to 716-317-9050. please give your call sign twice and slowly.
Victor Alpha 3,
KF0
Charlie
MHN,
Romeo Foxtrot.
KF0
Victor
MHN.
Alpha 3, Charlie Romeo Foxtrot, Vern in Waterdown.
Whiskey 4, Papa Papa X-ray. Whiskey 4, Papa Papa X-ray.
N2BH. N2BH.
Okay, let's hold to here for a moment. You guys might want to try texting your call signs in because we have had a couple stations there, a little bit of pile up. So let me read what I got. We have a station out there that had the letters possibly KR in it or possibly CRF. If that's you, please give your call sign twice and slowly.
Good evening, Craig. It's Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Romeo Foxtrot, VA3 CRF. Copy?
Yes, we did, Vern. Thank you for clarifying that. All right, so from the bottom up, I'm going to read the call signs I got, and if you did try to check in and you don't hear your call sign, we'll let you try again. We got Bill, N2BH, W4PPX, Don, VA3 CRF, Vern. We have Bill, KF0MHN. If you didn't hear your call sign and you just tried checking in over the radio, please give your call sign twice and slowly. Try to wait a random amount of time so you don't have a pile. We don't have a pile up. Okay, nothing hurt. We'll start at the top of the list here with Bill, KF0MHN. Bill, what's the fastest you have ever traveled in a land-based vehicle?
Well, my wife just came in, so I better not say. But anyways, I'll say 100 miles an hour on my motorcycle back in the day. And now she knows. Anyways, you're doing a great job, and thanks for doing the net tonight. This is KF0MHN.
Thank you, Bill, for checking in. Next, we have Vern, VA3 CRF.
Good evening, Craig. Everybody on the net, thanks for picking me up. Nice to hear Bill in there behind me in Palmyra. Land-based, fastest I've been would be between 185 and 190. I have gone basically 300 kilometers an hour on the AVE, the Alta Velocidad train in Spain, the Très Grand Vitesse in France, and the Frecciarossa in Italy. I love traveling by train. Thanks for doing it, Craig. VA3 CRF.
Thank you, Vern, and I love the pronunciation you got there. That was awesome. Next, we have Don, W4PPX.
Good evening, everybody on the net tonight. It's W4PPX in Hollywood. Put me down for 125 on a Norton 810 Commando. For PPX, back to net control.
Thank you, Don, for checking in with us. Next, we have one of our system facilitators, Bill, N2BH.
Good evening, Craig. Doing a great job, and hello to Vern. Probably, I think I was 140 at a Dodge Charger police car, N2BH.
Okay, well, that's the bottom of this list. Remember, you can text your call sign to 716-317-9050, or you can give your call sign twice and slowly. I'd like to remind everybody that tomorrow we have our 20-meter net at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on 14.317, plus or minus a few kilohertz. And tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we have our Ask an Elmer in the ECR Zoom room. So we're taking check-ins now from any stations. Please give your call signs twice and slowly.
KQ4YYN, KQ4YYN.
KF8EBV, Kilo Foxtrot 8, Echo Bravo Victor.
November 7, Bravo Alpha Golf. November 7, Bravo Alpha Golf, Brad Astoria.
November 7, Foxtrot Golf Papa. November 7, Foxtrot Golf Papa.
Okay, we'll hold it there for a moment. From the bottom up, I got N7FGP Scott. We got Brad, N7BAG. Next up, we have KF8EBV, as in Victor. And we had Joe, KQ4YYN. If you didn't hear your call sign and you did try to check in, give it now twice and slowly. Okay, hearing none, let's take it up to Joe, KQ4YYN. Joe, what's the fastest you've ever gone? And please don't tell me the speed that you're about to give was driving a big truck.
You know, I don't know. Actually, I was on a motorcycle many years ago. I had a Kawasaki 650. I think that one was a custom. I had 3 different ones at different times in my life. Had a custom, a SR. I think I had the SR first, then the custom, then just a plain one. But maybe on the custom, we had taken the carburetors off and replaced them with some Mikuni carburetors from the Kawasaki 900, I believe it was, with bigger jets on it, and it was pretty fast. So I really couldn't tell you honestly how fast it was. It's faster than I want to go nowadays, over.
Thank you, Joe, for checking in. Yeah, I remember the days when I had my motorcycle, carburation, not fuel injected like today's stuff is, which actually is quite good, but I remember taking those things apart and cleaning them all the time. Next up on the list, we have Michael, KF8EBV. Michael, what's the fastest you have ever traveled on a land-based vehicle?
Fastest I'll admit is 80 and a 70, 80 and a 70, and it's Michael in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Thanks for running the net. KF8EBV.
Thank you, Michael, for checking in. Next, we have Brad, N7BAG.
Hi, Michael. I would say probably back in the 70s, I had my 69 Dodge Charger with a 440 motor in it, and I went 120 miles an hour across the bridge. A very long 5-mile bridge called the Megler Bridge out here on the Oregon coast.
Must have been scary. Next, last on this list here, we got Scott, N7FGP. Scott, what's the fastest you've ever gone?
Good evening, Craig, and everybody out there listening tonight. It has to be around 110, 120. It was a long time ago, though. Back to you.
Thanks, Scott, for checking in. And once again, we're going to be looking for check-ins. This is Craig, K4MMX, for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net. We are going to be taking check-ins from anybody, anywhere, on the radio. And, of course, you can always text your check-in to the following phone number, 317, I misspoke, 716-317-9050. That's 716-317-9050. You can text your check-in to that, and only your call sign, nothing more. And right now we're taking radio check-ins. Please give your call sign twice and slowly.
KJ5MEL. KJ5MEL.
KC5CPO. Kilo Charlie 5, Charlie Papa Oscar.
Anybody else? Okay, let me recognize our text check-in, W3ICQ. We'll come back to you in just a second here. From the bottom up on the radio, we got KC5CPO. That's Dave. We have Jose, KJ5MEL. So, W3ICQ. Bob, our text check-in. How fast have you ever traveled in a land-based vehicle?
Good evening, Craig. How are you doing? The fastest I've traveled is 199 miles an hour, and that was on a train in France, the TGV high-speed train. W3ICQ, back to the net.
Thank you, Bob, for checking in. Next, we have Jose, KJ5MEL.
Yes, the fastest I've been on a terrain vehicle was a bullet train in Spain as well. And on a car, I did 140 miles per hour. That was when I was young and stupid. Thank you all. Have a great evening. You're doing a good job, Craig. Thank you for running the net. Back to net control.
Thank you, Jose, for checking in with us. Last on this list, we have Dave, KC5CPO.
Good evening to everybody on the net. It's starting to cool down around here with the sun going down. Excuse me. There are some things we just don't talk about. What happens in the car, stays in the car, especially when your YL is standing right next to you. So, I'll leave it at that. Doing a great job, both of you. Have a good night. KC5CPO.
Thank you, Dave. We got you down for pleading the fifth. This brings us to the bottom of the list, so we're open for taking more check-ins. If you'd like to check in via radio, you could please give your call sign twice and slowly. And remember, we have our text line, which is area code 716-317-9050.
Kilo Charlie 1, November Romeo, Quebec, KC1NRQ, Bruce.
Hey, we're still open for taking check-ins. We did recognize you, Bruce. KC1NRQ will get back to you in a moment. Are there any other stations waiting to check in? And please remember, you can also text your call sign, and only your call sign, to 716-317-9050. And you do have the option to plead the fifth if you don't want to admit it. Okay, hearing none, let's go to Bruce, KC1NRQ. Bruce, what's the fastest you've ever traveled in a land-based vehicle?
Thank you. Good evening. I got three little ways I did. 107 in a Peterbilt with a load on going from Indiana to Ohio, and try not to admit that too often, but I'm retired now, so that's okay. About 143 on a motorcycle, and I ran quite a few oval track vehicles, so I think the fastest we ever went into the corner was about 173, 174, right around there. Nothing like a bullet train, but it got your attention. KC1NRQ.
Thank you, Bruce. And would you like to disclose what highway and mile marker, date, and time that was?
Yeah, statute of limitations, I guess, is over with. It was about 1980, and right after the Indiana gate going into Ohio Turnpike, headed towards T5. Well, they called it T5 back then. So, yeah, it was about 1980, 1981. The Peterbilt had a 1,200 horsepower motor in it, back when guys were lucky to have 300 horse. And the motorcycle, that was local up here in Connecticut.
Thank you, Bruce, for that. That was funny. We have our text check-in. James, KF8DIP. James, what's your answer to tonight's question? KF8DIP. Didn't hear you if you tried keying up there. Thought I heard something come over the bridge. James, try it one more time, please.
Yeah, KF8DIP. What comes to mind is when I was 14 years old, my dad handed me a Plymouth Fury station wagon push button, and I took it down the road for the first time, 110 miles an hour. Back when I was 14 years old. Back to the net.
Thanks, James. That must have been fun. This is Craig, K4MMX for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net. We still have time for some additional check-ins. Please give your call sign twice and slowly, or you can text it to area code 716-317-9050. And hopefully I will have that phone number memorized by the end of this net. All right, well, at this time, I'd like to ask for any in-and-out stations that would prefer not to answer the question. In-and-out stations only.
This is KJ5. KJ, I'm just monitoring, gentlemen. In and out only.
K6 GBZ, in and out.
Are there any other stations wanting to check in and out real quick?
Late check-in.
Late check-in station, please give your call sign twice and slowly.
KG5EGD. KG5EGD. His name is Alvin.
N2ZWR. N2ZWR. In and out.
Okay, let's hold it here for a moment. Let me acknowledge all the ins and outs. We got N2ZWR. Dan, thank you for checking in and listening. Hope you enjoyed the net. We had another station, couldn't quite get the call, but I believe it's ends in EDG possibly. That station, please give your call sign again.
Yes, KG5EGD Alvin. And I'm ready for my question.
Okay, we got it. Thank you for checking in. Are you an in and out, or would you like to answer the question?
I'll answer the question. I think it was how fast on land have I ever been, and I believe it was 120 in a car on the freeway.
Thank you for checking in with us. We have two other in and out stations, K6GBZ. Tom, thank you for being with us. We have Jim, KJ5KJ, also in and out. Thank you for being here with us. And we got about maybe another 30 seconds to take a couple quick check-ins. And please say if you're in and out or if you want to answer the question.
Whiskey 4 Kilo November Sierra, in and out. I'm going to be in and out tonight. Whiskey 4 Kilo November Sierra.
WA4COA.
WA4COA.
In and out.
Uniform Golf, Mike, New York, and I'll answer the question.
Whiskey Bravo 5 India Tango Tango. WB5ITT, in and out this evening.
There was a station up in New York. Could you give us your call sign one more time?
Kilo Delta 2, Uniform Golf, Quebec.
Okay, got you there, Mike. All right, I'd like to recognize Chris in and out, WB5ITT. Going up from the bottom, we also got KD2UGQ. We got WA4COA and W4KNS. So W4KNS, I'm not sure if you're in and out or not. If you'd like to answer the question, go ahead. What's the fastest you have ever traveled in a land-based vehicle?
I was in and out, but I'll answer the question if you could repeat it one more time.
Question is, what is the fastest you have ever traveled in a land-based land-based vehicle.
Oh, gotcha. W4QF. This will be a good one. I actually drove a NASCAR, not a NASCAR driver, but I did the Richard Petty experience, and I think I hit 150 and change in a NASCAR on a track. So yeah, that's as fast as I've ever went on a land-based vehicle, and it was a race car, and I was fully in this stuff. Back to you, W4KNS.
Thank you for checking in with us. And last on the list, we have Mike, KD2UGQ. Mike, what's the fastest you have ever traveled in a land-based vehicle?
Yes, I believe it was about 120. Not for very long, no. That was a long time ago, before they had balanced tires. This is KD2UGQ, back to net control.
Thank you, Mike, for checking in, along with everybody else that has participated. I'd like to thank our logger, Gil, who's probably one of the toughest jobs here. That would be Gil, K4GDS, and our two hosts, Mark, KE2EDS, and Terry, N5RTC. Unfortunately, Sean was not able to make it tonight due to some equipment issues, but we're going to work on that as soon as we're done here in the Zoom room. I'd like to thank everybody for checking in again. Hope everybody enjoyed the net. We'll be back here next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you would like to become a net controller, feel free to go to the East Coast Reflectors website, eastcoastreflector.com, and go under nets, and you'll find the open mic net, and in there somewhere there's a link to throw your name and your call in the hat. Wish I had it open in front of me to tell you more, but we are now returning the Reflector back to normal amateur radio use. This is K4MMX, 7-3 to all.